The average Nebraskan upgrades or replaces their computer every 18 to 24 months.
Users often keep their Schrock Innovations modular PC more than 6 years. So what's the difference? That's the big question in this week's Compute This.
And he's back, Thor Schrock. Good to see you, Thor.
Nice
Good
to have you
Thanks
here.
for having me, guys. So a lot of people replace their computers. What are the main reasons why?
Sentimental attachment is why they keep ours longer.
Yeah, sure it is. Yeah.
Right.
I didn't say they used it longer. I said they kept it longer. No, actually, people keep a lot of their computers. The average American household has over 2.5 computers in storage. Don't ask me how they got to a half. I think it's a division thing.
Right.
But
It's like having 2.5 kids.
Yeah.
You know that
We've
number.
got one in the basement, down in the storage area. Yeah.
Yeah, and you just keep it for no logical reason.
Well, I got some on the hard drive. There's some stuff on there.
Sure,
and it's someday I'm going to eventually extract that. I don't know when.
Your kids are going to get it when they're like, why did Dad keep this old piece of junk?
Like for a lot of us, we're concerned about what happens to the information if we sell that computer or if we recycle it and the information isn't pulled correctly. But in terms of using it, how long are we actively using those computers?
Sure. Well, what happens is a lot of people, when they buy computers, there is a correlation between spending the amount of money you want to spend and getting the technology that you feel you need. And so people say, well, I don't want to buy a computer that does more than I need it to do because I'm going to have to spend more money on it, which, makes sense. Well, at Schrock Innovations, when we build our modular computers, we build them a little bit differently. When we build a modular computer, and that picture on the screen was actually an HP, not our modular computer. That was an example of a non-modular computer.
Good to know, yeah.
But when we build our computers, they're built with upgradability in mind. So, for example, when you buy that HP, it's going to come with, if it needs a 275 watt power supply, it will come with 275 watts in the power supply. If you add any hardware to it, guess what? You don't have enough power. If it needs a certain amount of memory or a certain number of ports, it will come with those ports.
Well, I think that maybe photography is a good example. Like the photos that we would have had when our cameras were 5 megapixels, it's a completely different story compared to the technology we're using today, even just within the last few years.
Yeah, fun segment for the future. We should do the Mars lander has a 2 megapixel camera on it.
No kidding.
It's a Mars rover lander. It's got a 2 megapixel. Your cell phone's got a better camera.
Right.
But nevertheless,
doesn't make sense.
The modular computers, when people upgrade them every 18 to 24 months, it's not because the computer has gotten slower. A lot of times you hear these commercials, my computer's gotten so slow.
Yeah.
Your computer works just as fast as the day you bought it. It has not slowed down. What's happened is the software you're running on the computer has gotten more complicated. I booted up my son's laptop for him this morning because he wanted to play the Superhero Squad game. He's a newly minted 6-year-old, so he's playing squaddies there and doing his thing. And he, Windows Update pops up and says there's updates to install. Well, the reason that when you get these updates, they actually cause the computer to do more than it was designed to do originally, which takes more time, which will give you eventually the appearance between Windows updates, Norton updates, Adobe updates. All these updates are coming in and making your computer work just
So it's got to take a
infinitesimally
longer
harder.
path to get to the end result. So
Yes.
it just has to take
So
more time.
the point is, if you think about a traditional PC that a lot of us have had over the years compared to what you have, a modular PC, instead of buying a whole new unit, you can just buy what you need as
just change out the brain. So we had a customer in the Omaha Service Center last week who's trying to decide between the X4, the quad-core model, and the X6. And he was asking me to compare them to what they had across the street at the box store. And I said, well, the neat thing is if you're not sure you need the X6, buy the X4. Because 2 years from now, when you're saying, if you've ever bought a laptop and you've had that choice on the screen and you're saying, should I get the extra big processor or should I get the regular one that's $200 cheaper? Well, I don't want to spend $200. And then 2 years later, you're like, oh, I wish I would have spent the $200. Well, with a Schrock modular computer, we can actually take that chip out, and the board inside is designed to take a new chip. So when you buy a box store computer, the emphasis there is they need to sell you a new computer every 18 to 24 months to stay in business. At Schrock Innovations, we're a service company, so when we sell you a computer, we want it to last as long as possible and be as reliable as possible through that time. So if it needs a 275 watt power supply, we put a 450 in it. If it needs a smaller fan, we put a larger fan in it. If it needs a certain amount of RAM, we give you a little bit more than you need because your needs are going to evolve over time, and nobody plans for that.
And you talked about the service aspect, and what kind of service and warranty comes with those modular computers at Schrock?
Yeah, it's a little bit different than what you would get from, and that's our main competitive advantage. It's a bit different than what you get from the box store because, first of all, you take your computer home from Schrock Innovations, just looking at boots on the ground, you've got 3 service centers in Nebraska with people who are responsible for caring for that computer. Individual people, you will learn their first names, and they're not like Sam and Bob and Jane. They're, yeah, we have some interesting. We have a
Thor.
Thor. You know,
Thor.
Great and forgettable.
We do have a John and a Chris, but their names really are John and Chris. But the cool thing about it is when you take that computer home, you also get a 90-day subscription to our Schrock Desk service, which is our online support. So you get it home and you're trying to hook up your printer and everything to it, and you know you've got disks that were made for Windows Vista or Windows XP. Now you've got Windows 7, so the disks don't work. How do you get the software? You call us up, and for 90 days, 3 months, you get free tech support on the
so
computer.
you just walk the customer through the process.
Yeah,
of
we connect over the internet, and it's like we're sitting right beside you. We can help you with the keyboard and mouse to get the stuff installed that you want to install.
You can see their computer screen.
Yep, and it's very secure. So the user actually connects to us. We say go to schrockdesk.com, we give them a code to type in, and they connect to us. And then when we're done, they can click the X, we click the X, and the connection is terminated, and it's your computer.
And you don't have
exclusively.
access back into that computer.
Exactly, yeah. That would be bad.
The Schrock Desk, great service, which you can get independently, but it also comes 3 months, as you're saying, with one of the modular PCs. And I feel like it's just worth asking the question. So you sell a bunch of these a year. What does everybody else know that I don't? And you start the conversation there. And there are 3 locations, which, by the way, are closed today. So don't run out and try to pick up a modular PC today. You're going to be turning right back around. But tomorrow they're back in business at SchrockInnovations.com. in Omaha, Village Point South, also in Papillion off Highway 370 and 72nd Street, and the original location is in Lincoln.
So what does a computer guy do on Labor Day when the shop is all closed down?
The same thing you do. I come into the morning blend.
That's right.
You work anyways.
Or what?
Oh, well, you know, we have our maintenance checkup special going on. We launched it last week. The service centers are incredibly busy.
Yeah.
So we have an optional day where, see, our hourly guys don't get paid for a day off. So we're saying if you want to come in and work uninterrupted by phone calls for an entire day, this is your chance to do it. So I suspect that we'll have some straggling people in and out of the service centers doing, you know, catching up, trying to get some of these computers ready to drop.
Yeah, and if you're curious about that special, you can go back to OmahaMorningBlend.com and watch the clip of his last visit. Thor, it's great to have you here.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it.